I'm going to do a video today showing these gourd birdhouses I did. The designs I did on them. I hand drew some of these flowers on there. Did a butterfly. Here we got the entrance hole, which is 1 1/8 inches. And I did for the drain holes on the bottom, did a flower around that. We got a wire metal hanger on there with a D-ring, little one. And I did this to be like a clematis, and the vine linking the flowers together. Then I wood burned it. I drew this on with a pencil, hand drew it. Then I took and went over it with a wood burner and wood burned everything in with the burner. And then I put 3 coats of spar urethane on it. So I'm going to do one today. I'm going to show you a pencil drawing I'm doing on it, wood burning it, and we'll kind of go through the steps and I'll show you how to do it. First thing we'll start off is we'll go out here and I'll show you some of the gourds I got out here on a bench. These gourds were given to us. You know, I do woodworking and we go to a farmer's market, and one of the guys at the farmer's market brought these and gave them to me. Somebody had given them to him and he didn't know what to do with them, so he gave them to me and said see if I wanted to try to do something with them. So I've been making these birdhouses, and as you can see there's all different shapes and sizes of them here, and they get real dirty because you got to let them dry out, so they get kind of mildewy, so you got to clean these things. These haven't been cleaned yet. I'll have to soak them, clean them. You can use a little bit of bleach in the water. I think it's a 1-to-4 ratio, so it doesn't take a lot of bleach. Then you can use like a green scouring pad and scrape them and rub them off. You got to be very gentle with them. One thing I found is once they've soaked and they've gotten wet for 10 or 15 minutes, they can become kind of soft. So you got to be careful and you don't break them or bust a hole through them. And then once you get them cleaned up good, then you got to set them up and let them dry. I let mine dry for a couple days, and then once they dry completely, they'll get hard again. Then I went over it with a little bit of sandpaper to try to clean them up, and then you can start working with them. All right, the first thing we're going to show is I picked out this one here, this gourd, and I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole in it, show you doing that. I use these Forstner bits. I got a whole set of them. This set, I'm not sure the name of it. We ordered it online. I'll put a link to it down below, but you get a whole set here. You get everything from 2-inch, from a 1/4 inch all the way up to a 2-inch in this set. And I use them a lot. They're not an expensive set. They're pretty cheap. Here on my bad house I do. This has got a 3/4 inch hole in it. And you can see I use this bit set to drill these out. And they do a nice clean cut for a cheap set. And I run them in my drill press. I like the drill press using them because it keep things straight. It gives you a nice straight cut. And this is just a little Wren tabletop that I have. It's not too expensive, but it does a good job for what I use it for these small projects. But if you don't have one or you don't want to put the money out to get one, you could use a hand drill with these bits to do the same thing. All right, I want to show you drilling this out. I have one that was already busted. So since those others haven't been cleaned, I'm going to show you drilling on the side that ain't busted. And I can also show you the seeds that are inside these. So we've never grown ours before, these birdhouse gourds. You can buy them online, but we're going to try to grow our own this year. So I'm going to go ahead and keep these seeds that's in here. And then what I'll also do is probably buy some new seeds too. So I'll try some of these old ones from the gourds that we have and see how they do. And then I'll also buy some fresh ones and try them to see which ones grow better and see how they are. So since this one's already busted, we're going to try to turn it over, and I'm just going to drill a hole on this side. What I would recommend doing is look at your gourd and kind of see where you think would be the best place for a birdhouse hole. Like I said, this one's already busted, so we're just going to have to go here. But I would look on what side is the straightest, and when you hang it, which way you think that would be the best way to have the hole set for the birdhouse, and even for a design that you're going to do. So we're going to go right here, and I'm just going to put a mark so I know exactly where I want to put my hole. And you want to go very easy. Don't put a lot of pressure because you'll bust them. So just go slow and easy and let the bit do all the work. So see, even with this and being kind of fragile, as long as you go slow and easy, see it cuts out a nice hole. And then I'll just take a piece of sandpaper and I'll kind of smooth that out. It got a little chip here. This gourd's in pretty rough shape. But what I can do is I'll take some sandpaper and I'll go in there, and even if you get a little chip out, you can kind of fix that. It doesn't have to be a perfectly round hole. The one I did outside was a nice solid gourd. It gave me a perfect round hole. So it's going to kind of depend on how well you're, see, this is so spongy. It's not a really good gourd anymore. It's kind of past its prime, so to speak. The other thing I'm going to do is use my close cut saw and just cut this stem off. I want to get rid of that, not have that on there. Here's a gourd I picked to decide to do this design with before it's been cleaned and stuff. I went ahead and pre-videoed just a little bit. I didn't do a video showing all the cleaning and soaking and stuff like that. There's plenty of videos online of that, or you can look it up. It's pretty simple. You just you can do it in a bucket in the bathtub. Just soak it and clean it and scrub it. So what I'm going to do is come back. I'm going to show you after it's been cleaned. I'm going to go ahead and have the hole cut out, and I'll show you what I'm getting ready to draw some designs on it, and we'll get ready to start wood burning. All right, we're back. Here it is. Got the hole cut out. It was a nice clean hole. I went ahead and I drew a little design. I went with some mushrooms. There's for the door. I did a little gnome. There's some dragonflies I drew on there. Another mushroom, a couple butterflies, another little gnome. And then on the bottom, I'm going to take and probably wood burn all the way around that line. The bottom part, wood burn it. Then I'll drill my holes in the bottom for drain holes. And then I'll, after I'm done, I'll drill a hole on both sides up here to put my cable through to hang it with. So we're ready to start wood burning on this one. Here's the wood burner I have. I bought this. We had an old wood burner, and it was about wore out. So I went ahead and bought a new one. And this is the one that I used, that I did the gourd that I showed you before that's hanging outside. So this is a pretty nice wood burner. It did a good job. I really like it. It comes with a lot of different I guess you could call them bits or something that go in them. And we'll open it up here and I'll show you how it is. When you open it up, it comes in a nice case. So it comes with a nice case that it's got a handle on it, it's got a good zipper on it. Here's the burner itself. Comes with a stand for your bits to set in. Comes with a pair of tweezers. This is a little sponge that goes in here that you can clean your bit with as you're using it. Now what I got here is a 500 grit piece of thick sandpaper foam. I'm going to use that so when you clean as you're burning it, stuff will stick on the bit. So I'll use that to kind of rub it off to keep your bit clean while you're wood burning. Here's your power cord. Comes with a whole stack of little test templates, we call them here. They're wood, real thin, where you can practice your wood burning on. It comes with a whole stack of those. It comes with a whole bag of different sizes and shapes of different bits that come with this. So this is a really nice set that comes with all these different bits. And what I'll do is I'll try to show you more of a close-up here. I'm going to show you here, see all these different bits that come with this. So it comes with a whole lot of bits. I don't know what all of them are different uses for. See, this is a round one. It's got a little ball on it. And then here's another one with a little ball. Those are so if you want to like burn a little circle. Like if you want to do circles, I know that works good for that, for burning circles. There's some of these wide ones for doing, you know, wide shading, and there's all kinds of different bits. So you probably have to look up online. Here's another one with a little ball to see different ones. The one that I used on my other gourd and I'm going to be using on this one is this bit right here. You can use this bit for outlining and things, but it's also wide enough that you could use it for some small shading. And here's one of those templates I was telling you about. This is the first one. When I did that first gourd, I went ahead and I burned this just to test it to see how it was. And so this was one of my test templates that I did with burning. So I'm going to show you here how to put this, set this camera down. I'm going to show you how to put the little burning tip into the burner itself. There's holes right here that they go in, and there's a 2 set screws. There's one here and one on this side. So these prongs down here at the end are going to go right in these holes, just like that right there, and you push it all the way down in to where it's in all the way. And it comes with a little screwdriver. So with this little screwdriver, you're just going to tighten these up on both sides. You tighten that in so it won't come out. And that's how you interchange your different bits. Real simple, real easy. You can kind of see it there, what it looks like with that bit in there. So that's the one I'm going to be using. And it also came with 4 extra screws. So if you lose a screw for that, it comes with 4 extras. It comes with a little screwdriver here that came with it. Plus you got the cord that plugs into the outlet, and it plugs into your burner. I'll show you that. And then this one here screws, this end here screws into your wood burner. So let me get the wood burner. I'll show you setting that up. Here's the burner I was telling you about. It's got a dial here with different settings. So you'll have to figure out depending on what you're burning. With my gourd, I'm gonna start it off about a 5. Because you don't want to burn through your gourd. That's one thing you got to be careful when you're burning the gourd, and I'll show you, is you don't want to burn through it. And for different woods or different darkness or tips, you can change it. It goes from 1 all the way up to 10. 1 low, 10 high. Here's your start button once you get it set. And here's your cord here. This is the cord that plugs into your receptacle for your power. It plugs into the side of the burner. Push it in, and you plug it into the wall. This cord here has this in. It's got a little slot here, you'll see. So it's a little notch in the bottom, so that shows you the way that the slot goes in. It only fits in one way. Once you slide it in, you just tighten this up here. You're hooked up. Now what this is the little stand, because this is going to be very hot when you're burning it. So of course you know that it's a wood burner. So you stick it in there to keep it from burning anything if you need to set it down. So we'll go ahead and get her plugged in here. Here's that little piece I was telling you about. And you'll see, if this thing gets corroded, you can just take it and just rub it against there, clean it off a little bit, because wood and stuff will stick to it. And it gets to where it don't burn very well when it does that. To tell you too is, when you first get this, every bit that you're going to use, this was what we're calling our bit, our little burning bit. It said to take, and before you use any of these bits, and I did it with this one, is to go ahead and turn it on, turn it all the way up. This is going to get cherry red, get very hot. And it says to do that, get it extremely hot. And then once it gets extremely hot like that, then you're going to turn it off and let it cool all the way down. We'll stick it back in here, but you can see it cools down really quick. It said to do this 3 times because you're wanting to temper that bit, because it said if you don't do that, it'd make it easier to break or be more brittle. So to strengthen that bit and temper it, it said to do that 3 times. Turn it on, let it get cherry red, turn it off, let it cool. When it completely cools, turn it back on, do that 3 times, and then you're good to go. So every bit you use, if you go to use a new bit, if you haven't tempered it already, you should temper it before you use it the first time. After you've used it before, then you don't have to worry about that no more. Here's a little manual that comes with it. You can look through here. It gives you some descriptions of different things with the wood burner. Tells you a little bit about the different flat tip pins, the different bits and pins that you want to use for different kind of burning and designs. So you get that, you can look through it. All right, we're going to start here. I got my gourd. I put a towel down here to give my gourd something soft to lay it on. I even sometimes I'll hold it up here. It's whatever's going to be comfortable for you to be able to follow, because you know gourd's kind of all kinds of weird shapes, so it's kind of hard to follow along. It ain't like you're working with a flat surface. So you'll just kind of test it and have to test it and kind of find out what works best for you. I think I showed before, but I'll show again. Here's some of my designs that I did. I drew them on with a pencil. And if you're worried about that maybe you can't draw, you don't think you can draw good enough, I'm sure you can, but you could also do like what I was showing with the video where I did my scroll saw. You can get carbon paper. I'll show you right here. I have some. Here's a piece of it right here. And when the one video I did is when I was doing my lantern boxes and my Bigfoot box, I drew the Bigfoot out by hand with a pencil. And then I took and so that I didn't have to draw it on every box I made. After I had a pattern, I used the carbon paper and I'd lay it down. So you could take that. You could go online and even print out pictures, whatever you want online. You'd have to make sure they're right sized, and you can size them to fit your project. And you could take that, your gnome or whatever you're doing there, and what you could do is print that out, and then what I would do is cut it out like a little square piece, and then you could take your carbon paper, and I would just tape it to the back of it probably, and then you could just lay that up on there, and then you could take and trace it and put your design on your gourd that way if you didn't want to hand draw it, so that you could still do a design. So we've already got ours set up here. I'm going to probably try to start off with, let's start off with doing this dragonfly. Got to get her turned on here. I'm going to set it on probably 5 to start with and see how that works. Give it a second here to warm up. And I'll adjust it to that, because like I said, main thing is you don't want to burn all the way through your gourd. So let's see how this is doing here. You can see how it kind of do a light line there. All you're doing is tracing over what you drew with the pencil to start with. We're working on the wings. You can kind of see what I'm doing there. I'm going to go down the body. And like anything else, you know, it takes a little practice. You get used to it. If you haven't done wood burning before, I'm no expert at it by any means. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. I would practice. I'd start off doing it on, you know, like those little sample boards that come with it to kind of get a feel for it. And one thing about, like I said, the gourd is a little tricky because it's round. It's all kinds of different shapes to the gourd, but you can kind of see it's looking pretty good so far. You can see what I did there, especially on this gourd. It started to get to where it wasn't burning very good. It's because stuff sticks to the bottom, this coating off the gourd. Just kind of rub it on your scratch pad there. Cleans it off. I'm going to darken in the body of it. Just kind of do it a couple little dabs like that. And you can, that depends on how dark you want it. You can do how much you like. Kind of feel that in a little bit. Then I'm going to go down the wing, and I'm kind of do a line down through it here. Do a couple little zigzags off of it. Kind of make it look like a wing. Do the same thing on the lower one. And then I'm going to do some shading here, because if you notice a dragonfly, their wings, they usually have 1 or 2 spots that there's a dark patch. So we're going to, let's see, how we do our dark patches. There, we'll do one here. Do one down here. Do one out here near the end. Then we'll do the same thing. Now I got to turn him around. I hope you can see this. It's kind of hard to get it with the camera and still be able to follow him and do it my way, the way I need to burn it. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go down this wing. We've already outlined it. Do a couple little lines for his wings. Do a little patch here. You know, just be gentle. Don't put much pressure. Let the wood burner do the work for you. Don't worry about messing it up. Even if you do get offline or mess it up a little different, you can fix it. Just do some extra shading. You can fix it out there pretty good. You can see my first dragonfly. We got it burned in. I'll go maybe do a little more darker around the wing here a little. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Oops, make sure I'm on camera. I think it looks pretty good. Now I'll do all the others. I'm going to shorten the video a little, so I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to do a little bit of this, and then I'll come back after I've gotten a little more done. See, when this thing's nice and hot still, we use our little tray to set it down in. So that's our first dragonfly. Okay, here we are. We're back. You can see I got the 2 dragonflies. There's the first one we did. Here's the second one. I got that burned in. Now these look pretty good. They look better in person than they probably do on camera. But once you put the spar urethane on it, by the first coat looks better. The second coat looks even better. By the third coat, it really makes the darkness of the wood burning really show up and pop on there. So once you do that, you'll really see how nice that makes it look. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work on probably this here next, this mushroom here, the mushroom house. And when I get it burned in, I'll come back and show you. All right, we got the mushroom shaded in or traced in. Part of the reason why I'm not trying to video the whole thing is because what you can't see is a lot of times I'm holding up against me so I can like get to it because it's hard to get to, and I figure you won't be able to see a lot of that anyway. But what I will show you is, like when I'm tracing it in, you can see this blade here. I'll use the thin part and kind of go around like this. Now we're going to shade in these mushrooms, so now you can use the flatter part and flatten it out if you want to do some really dark. See, we want those to be kind of dark. As you can hear, I'm constantly, this gourd, wood wouldn't be as bad, but the gourd, it really sticks on the back of it. And you'll see, I'll kind of show you here, how it's burning there. As it starts to See how now it's not wanting to, see how light it's trying to burn? You got to clean that off. Now look and see how dark it goes. So that's why I recommend, set this down in here. This is a 500 grit. It's like a foam pad with 500 grit sandpaper on it. You could use a piece of sandpaper and put it on a block. This seems to work really well. I just happen to have one of those. It didn't come with it. So I would recommend you would get you one of those. And this little set, it's only like $30. This is not an expensive wood burning set. It's only like a $30 set. We bought it. We'll put a link to it. And I've really been happy with what I've used it for being not paying a couple $100 for it. It is starting to look like something. There's different kinds of shading. Like I said, I would just work with it and practice. I'm no expert by any means. You could even watch probably some more how-to videos that teach you a little more than what I'm showing. But what I'm going to do here is, this is the underneath of the mushroom. And I want it to be, since I'm not actually doing any color with this, everything's going to be wood burned. I want to kind of shade this, but I don't want to shade it as dark as this. I want to do a lighter shading with this so that it's different color than the top, but you don't want it to be as dark as this stuff because you want to still be able to see your lines. So we're just going to take this and just do some real quick stuff like that. Just keep moving it around. And while you're doing this, be careful. Don't get your finger up against any of that brass, because keep it on the plastic, because all that's very hot. It'll burn your finger. You can kind of see what I did there with that shading. So you can still see the lines, and I might even darken them a little more. But it just gives it a little shading to change the texture from this. And you can play with that, what you like. You like it darker or lighter. You can just kind of mess around with that and you'll figure it out. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the camera. I'm going to do some more of this, and then I'll pick up here somewhere else as I'm going along and show you some more. All right, to check back in, we got a little gnome wood burned. Got another one of the mushrooms leading around. I'm going to work on this butterfly right here, I think. So I'll show a little bit of that as much as we can see with the way I got to hold it. See, I'm using the back side of the pin. I'm kind of using it, the thin part of it. Kind of outlining that in first. body. Body, we're going to go ahead and we're going to darken it pretty good because you know the body on the is black. And we'll do the shading, give it some design here. I'm just going to kind of tap it and do some streaks. And down here we'll do the same thing. And we'll do it over here. Yeah. Give it a little design. And for the antennas, we'll kind of use the tip of it. Try to get a nice, they don't have to be straight because they're not going to be, but keep them nice and thin. And something like that. I might do a little bit more touching up on it, but that kind of gives you an idea. All right, what I'm going to do next, I got a good bit of that done. I want to shade this bottom. I went ahead and took a quarter-inch Forstner bit, and I drilled my holes in the bottom. I like the Forstner bit on this. It cuts nicer holes. You could use a regular drill bit, but the Forstner bit cuts a nice, cleaner, nicer hole in this gourd. So I'm going to shade this whole part in. Darken it up a little, kind of so you don't see them so much, and just kind of give it a little look to it on the bottom. So what I did was I changed the bits out, and I went to this wide bit. This is supposed to be more of a wider for a shading bit, and I went ahead and I tempered it the same way I told you earlier. So it's all been tempered. So I'm gonna get this turned on, and we're gonna try this. This will be the first time I've used this bit, so I'll find out how it works as well as you do. We got to turn back on there. We'll give it just a few seconds here to warm up. Hopefully you can see it. I don't have a cameraman. I'm trying to do this all myself, so I hope you can see what I'm doing here. So we're going to start here in the middle just to see what it looks like. I might have to turn the temp up on that a little bit, that big bit. Let's turn it up a little more. Got to kind of play with that a little bit to see. And crank that thing up all the way and see what it looks like. You want to keep it moving. You don't want to hold it in too much in one spot because you don't want it to burn through your gourd, and it will. So we're going to keep it moving. Going to work it like that. I'll turn the camera off and I'll burn it up there some more and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, I'm back with it. I went ahead and I did a little light coloring in the mushroom to give it some texture. I went ahead and did the whole bottom, this color here, because that's good, the ground, and I wanted to cover in those holes. So kind of get an idea how it looks. And once I put the 3 coats of spar urethane on it, that'll really help make it look a lot better. I'll go ahead and I'll get the hanger put on it. And it'll be ready to spar urethane. All right, we're getting ready to put the hanger on it, and I use this little cable we order. It comes in a spool. I'm not sure what gauge it is. It's probably about a 18 gauge or something. We'll put a link in the description for it if you want to use this. I use it on my bird feeders, my birdhouses, a lot of them, and it comes with these little crimps here that you can crimp it together. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So you want to line where your hole is. You want to put your cable, drill your holes through here so it'll hang the correct way. I've done drilled one here. Then you want to go straight across from where that hole is. Drill your other hole. To run your cable through. And what I do is I'll just run this cable. It works really good to go through there because it's stiff. It might take you a minute to get the hole lined up. All right, I got it all the way through. Like I said, it takes a little fumbling around. There's different ways you could do it. If you want to use something different, you could run a wire through it, tie it off to a string and pull it through or whatever. This cable works pretty good. And like I said, I use it for a lot of stuff. I use it on my hanging bird feeders that we've seen. I use it on my birdhouses, the ones that I'm going to hang up. And it works great for this gourd. It's got a plastic coating on it. So it's be weatherproof and it won't rust. And it works good for that. I'm going to go ahead and we'll put the crimps on it. Show you how I like doing them like this. And I'll do 2 of them. And then I can put that little small D-ring through it to hang them up with. If you had a different idea, you could do it however you want. But that works pretty good to do it like this. And then I'll crimp them. And then also, if you don't have enough strength in your hands or something to crimp them with, you can take a block of wood like I do here or something to lay it on. Take a hammer. Make sure you don't hit your gourd. Make sure you got it sticking out through this here so you got a little extra. And you can lay it down there on your block of wood. Crimp them like that if you want. You got them crimped. So now all you gotta do is take your little D-ring. Connect them. You're ready to hang. The one I did hanging up there. So then you can just hang them right up here like this. And what I like about these is I get these hooks. I'll show you a link to these too, that these have a little lock on them. A safety. So when you put them in, they're windproof. And all you do is fold that down and spring load it. You can see the difference between the gourd with the spar urethane that's protected and the one that I haven't put it on yet. So we'll get that put on there. But this will give you an idea what it looks like after you've wood burned it. And I just put that on the bottom just to give it some color. Everything I used today in the comments on the bottom so you can look it up. Thanks. This is our gourds after I got this one finished up. Got the spar urethane on it. I put 3 coats on there. You can see how it really makes the color of the wood burning really stand out. And then this is the one that I've did before. So this is something that if you're interested in doing wood burning, this wood burner, especially for the money, is a great little wood burner. And it's something you get and you just try it. You just start working with it. The more you do it, the better you get. And you know, I'm no expert, but learning the different shadings and the way of shading So there's all kinds of different shadings, you know, like from this light here to a little bit darker to the real dark. And that's something I think that I need to learn more about, and everyone else will as you go along. So I also have an online store for my woodworking shop, and I'll put a link to I'm gonna put these into my store if someone would be interested, that you don't want to do them yourself but you like them. I'll have them in my store, a link, you can go in there and see them in my store. Thanks for watching. If you found it helpful, leave comments. I like to get feedback, and like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.